here, they're much ahead.
We're in Bangkok, the place that India attaches not only cultural but even strategic importance with. We have with us Mr. Nagesh Singh, the ambassador of India to Thailand. Thank you for joining us on Times Now,
Pleasure.
sir. If I may ask, how do you see the strategic partnership between India and Thailand?
So, but Thailand is a neighboring country. We have a maritime boundary with Thailand in the Bay of Bengal. It's also a civilizational neighbor. In contemporary times, the relationship is very deep and multifaceted, whether it's the political aspect, whether it's the trade and investment issues, whether it's the people to people connect, culture. This relationship is a very diverse one. In technical terms, we are not yet strategic partners, but there have been pronouncements in public by leadership in Thailand and on our side that this relationship should be elevated to a strategic partnership. And my feeling is in the coming months, it should happen. It will happen sooner than later, let me put it like that.
So, when we talk about Southeast Asia, India's diplomacy is very much derived by the culture connect that we have, be it Thailand, be it Laos or Indonesia, be it the religious connect, be it the cultural connect, historical connect that we have had, the maritime connect in past also. So, if we talk about the cultural connect between India and Thailand, we all saw the Buddha relics when they came to Bangkok and the way the public interest was. How do you see that, and how much of help that becomes as a diplomat in this country?
So, the cultural linkages or the civilizational linkages, which I keep saying with this region, and especially with a country like Thailand, these are the bedrocks of our, of the relationship which is emerging in our times. The relationship goes back millennia, at least 2,000 years, I'd say. We have shared beliefs, whether it's Hinduism or Buddhism. We have common traditions. They celebrate Songkran, we celebrate Sankranti. They have a festival called Loe Krathong, in which they immerse, small boats with lights, with diyas. We have a similar festival in Odisha called Boita Bandhana. And I can go on and on. The language, for example, is heavily influenced from Pali and Sanskrit. So it provides us, this cultural connect provides us with a fertile ground for building a very strong modern day partnership. Buddhism, like you said, as you can see in this country, it is a 95% Buddhist country in terms of population, but their practices are all Hindu. Brahma is the most popular deity. You'll see the statues of Ganpati all over the place. This year, in February, we managed to get the holy relics of Lord Buddha. These are the Piprahava relics, which were found in Piprahava in Gorakhpur area of Uttar Pradesh. And along with that, we got the holy relics of two of Lord Buddha's principal disciples, Sariputra and Mahamoggallana, which are kept in Sanchi. And these came here as a part to commemorate the 72nd birth year of His Majesty the King Mahavajiralongkorn. They came here in February. They were enshrined here in Sanam Luang, the royal gardens, in front of the palace in the old city. And they also traveled to Chiang Mai in the north, Ubon Ratchathani in the east, and Krabi in the south. And during that 30 odd days, or slightly less than 30 days, I'm forgetting the exact number of days they were here, according to the Thai Ministry of Culture, almost 4.2 million, devotees, not just from Thailand, but from the neighboring countries, came and paid their respects. So in my view, in my 28, 29 years of diplomacy, I haven't seen a bigger public diplomacy event. And the impact it has left on the people. I can give you anecdotal references of people not taking money from Indian tourists during that period, people walking up to us on streets and touching our hands and crying with emotion that we had brought Lord Buddha himself to them, rather than they going to India and trying to search for salvation. So that was a remarkable, decision by the government of India to send the three relics here. And interestingly, the three relics have never traveled together. I mean, in the past, when Lord Buddha's relics came here in 97, Sariputra and Moggallana came here in the 1950s when Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, in his capacity as the president of Mahabodhi Society of India, brought them here. But this was the first time that in 2,500 years that Lord Buddha was united with his two chief disciples here in Bangkok.
So you spoke about the public diplomacy, you spoke about the cultural diplomacy. There's one more leg to it, which is the digital diplomacy. India's UPI has proven its prowess, be it in Mauritius or Sri Lanka or UAE, few parts of Europe as well, Nepal for that matter. Here in ASEAN countries, India is definitely pushing for it. There are a lot of talks between the countries, including Thailand. How do you see the digital integration of this region with India?
So, connectivity is the mantra today. Connectivity of all kinds, whether it's physical connectivity, infrastructure connectivity, or digital connectivity. So, I can tell you that we are at very advanced stage of negotiations with the Thai side on connecting UPI from India and something called Prompt Pay, which is a mirror image of UPI in Thailand. And it should happen sooner than later because there are just a few elements which are left to be negotiated. And both sides realize that the importance of this connectivity because, if you look at for Thailand, there are almost 1.5 to 2 million tourists who travel to this country every year. Can you imagine the facility they'll have in terms of coming and spending their money? Similarly, a large number of Thai people go on pilgrimage to India. For them also, it will be a big source of, comfort when they travel with, where they can use their respective instruments to make payments. So we are working on it. It should happen very soon. There are a few technicalities that I think will be turned out. And if in the coming months or something, if there's some high-level visit from both sides, I think we'll be able to announce this outcome.
So there is a hint here, but I'll take you forward to a very important point between India and Thailand. In past 6 to 7 months, there have been multiple news coming in that people from India came here on pretext of job. They were forced into fraud calling, or for that matter, the way extortion callings have been happening. Embassy has been releasing advisories after advisories, but such cases doesn't stop. How do you see this, and what do you think is the major challenge, and what's one solution for that?
So, you've hit on a very, very important point. It's becoming one of the biggest transnational crimes, which is affecting not just Indians, but for countries like Brazil, as far as Brazil, in Africa, in Malaysia, Taiwan, and other places. And what's happening is across the border from Thailand, in the southern parts of Myanmar, there's a strip of area which is a kind of a no man's land because the writ of the Yangon government doesn't run there, and you have various ethnic armed organizations which have propped up due to the civil war there and after the coup. And these areas are, a large number of online scamming centers, illegal casinos, where people are lured into by job offers in IT sector, etc. Now the challenge is that it is not technically in Thailand. Thailand is just a transit route. They are mostly in a place called Myawaddy across the border in Myanmar. There are some which have come up in the Golden Triangle area where Laos and Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar are there. And advisories have been issued between 2022, June, July, and now. We have evacuated or rescued almost 320 odd people and repatriated them back to India. Similarly, the reports are there are varying numbers, that there's still about 100 odd people there. Now, the biggest challenge is because, first of all, for the Embassy of India or our consulate in Chiang Mai, operating in a different country, because our mandate stops at the borders of Thailand. However, despite that, through formal and informal connections, we try and help these people when we get to know. There have been advisories after advisories. We have a visa-free regime. So people do land here without a visa, and then they are taken across. Now, once they are there, it's very difficult because even our embassy in Yangon or the government in Naypyidaw, the Myanmar, the current military government, they also have limited authority over these areas because these various ethnic armed organizations are running their own criminal syndicates, So the challenge is one that people come here and, I am a bit skeptical about, when you hear these stories that somebody lands at the airport and suddenly a gun is pointed and they are taking, that's not true, in my view. Maybe there are a few cases, but you've walked around in the city. It's a safe city. People don't carry guns and threaten people. People are lured into it by false promises. Once they go there, they get caught. So it's very important. I mean, what we've been telling Delhi and other concerned authorities that we have to, create an awareness program that they should not get lured or fooled into these recruitment efforts done by these criminal syndicates. Sometimes these recruitments are done online. Other times there are agents sitting in. I've read in the papers in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, others, where agents sitting there have been arrested. So it'll have to be a wholesome kind of a thing. For me, I think, I don't know how it'll be done, but the exit points in India, they will have to be more vigilant in allowing these people to come out because, you can, if you've been doing this for 20, 30 years, it's easy to discern between who's a tourist and who's not a tourist. For us here, because it's a visa-free arrival, people walk in, we can't check. Like I mentioned, there are 2 million people. What do we do? How many, it's humanly impossible to check every passenger who's landing here. And these people go there willingly. Obviously, they are fooled into going there because they don't know what the reality of across the border is. International organizations like the UNODC, which is the Drugs and Crime Agency, and others are getting involved because a large number of countries are affected whose nationals are kept hostage there. So it'll have to be a multi-pronged effort. And again, I say, this is Thailand. Our jurisdiction stops at the border. These things are happening across. But we work very closely with our embassy in Myanmar, our consulate in Chiang Mai, and I can tell you this much, that we use all possible, resources to get these people out. And as I mentioned, 320 of them we've repatriated in the last year and a half.
So last question, Indian Army troops are here in Thailand. The exercise Maitri is underway. So it's not only cultural or digital or public diplomacy, military partnership between India and Thailand is also growing. Earlier, we have heard of joint exercises between Royal Navy and Indian Navy, and now the ground forces, the armies are training together. Yeah. How do you see India's involvement at the exercise level in ASEAN countries?
So, ASEAN, we have a very strong partnership. We are one of the 3 other countries besides United States, Australia, Japan, and China, who are comprehensive strategic partners of the ASEAN. So only 4 of us, the others are dialogue partners, etc. Now we also participate at RM's level at what is called ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting, etc. So that's the overarching umbrella. Coming to Thailand, like I said, we share the Bay of Bengal. So on the sea side, again, Myanmar is a common area of, concern given the unrest there and the propping up of these ethnic armed organizations, human trafficking, drug trafficking, gun running, etc., everything you can think of. So we have common interest in maintaining peace and security in this region, in the Bay of Bengal region. India and Thailand are 2 prominent countries with solid institutional capacities. And when I say institutional, I mean in terms of the armed forces, whether it's the Army, Navy, Air Force, the Coast Guard, all these things. So just to tell you that, we have regular exercises, all 3 wings of the armed forces. We are talking about cybersecurity cooperation between our armed forces. We participate in one of the biggest exercises, which as an observer plus category, it's called Cobra Gold, which actually United States and Thailand and some other countries do here. But we are trying to become a full partner, and there are positive signs on that as well. We are also talking, and there's a lot of interest on the Thai side to look at elevating the relationship, not beyond exercises, to look at joint defense production, etc. We have staff level talks between all the three wings of the armed forces, annual staff level talks. We are also looking at increasing. We still have, Indian Armed Forces officers coming here for training for NDC, their staff colleges of Army, Air Force, Navy. Similarly, their people go there. Yesterday only I saw that they've sent a liaison officer to the Fusion Center in Gurgaon. So this is one area, given our common interest in peace and stability in this region. You'll see more and more, joint exercises, etc., happening of all the three wings in the near future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ambassador, for joining us.
Thank you.
If you have heard this at length, you have a crash course on India-Thailand relationship. This was Nagesh Singh, India's ambassador to Thailand, telling us all prospects of India-Thailand partnership. This is Rishabh Marvin Pratap in Bangkok for Times Now. Thank you, Sunil.